Excellent.
Let's do this, team. So you've noticed we are back out at Zone 1 Health Studio, Baddow Park, Essex, where we love, where Emma hangs out, where I hang out. You can sort of see it. We've changed the setup slightly because there's people training out there. Joe Hall, who was on this very sort of stage, as it were, not long ago, he's training out there in a second. Joe's doing fab, by the way. So we brought it into the office so we can still sort of see what's going on outside, but I can have a chat with Emma. That's okay. So Emma, welcome. Oh, Emma's nervous. Right, this is going to be good. I know loads of you have been in touch with me to say, like, what is like Emma's story? I think every time I sort of tell a little bit of it, I get loads of messages of people going, that is amazing. And I think it's a story worth sharing because I think it's blooming marvellous. I think it's really inspirational. And another thing, Emma's on the fun side of the island, which is really important because I think it says so much. So, we'll let a couple of people roll on and then we'll get stuck into it. Hold on, I'm just going to this has just got a bit, look, see, we can just, there's no rules with this stuff. I can clean my phone in the middle of all this. Right, fab. Right, we've got loads of people on. So I think what people wanted to know, I certainly want to know, is this lovely story of how you sort of went from a non-runner to potentially on the verge of the fastest ever age-rated marathon runner in the UK, from a non-runner at 40. So what about we start around that sort of point, the story that led up to you starting training with the Zone 1 method?
Yes.
So what happened?
Oh, right, okay. So first of all, I was just watching Rosa. So Christian started training Rosa when she was about 12. And I was just a parent kind of going up and...
Rosa, your daughter.
Rosa's my daughter. And I was just going up, kind of watching her train. I've got a history of training as such, as in the fact that a lot of my youth I was kind of running. And I was involved
16.
in athletics up to the age of 16.
But then
so since that 16, started working in the city, running was gone. So it wasn't part of my life. Had children relatively young, 22, I had my first little girl. And then kind of really never really thought about it until Rosa got to an age where she wanted to run. So I took her up. Christian started training her, and I was just watching and kind of observing and you know, being the pushy mum that I was. And
the sports mum.
Yeah, I was the sports
Rosa.
mum. Yeah. And then Christian approached me at a stage when I was already kind of helping out with coaching, but not running myself. So I was kind of doing little bits of our local running club, Billericay Striders. I was going up helping the children, a little bit of training there. And then I actually put in for a ballot. So I was doing no running at all, put in for a ballot to run at 0.
And
this was probably about 38.
38, right.
So I put in for a ballot for the London Marathon, but couldn't even run kind of 2-3 miles, and my name come out in the ballot.
Right.
I was absolutely devastated.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
No, it wasn't supposed to happen. So that was at Christmas time, and the marathon being in. So I kind of started training then, and I ran the marathon with my sister. And we both ran it together, and we just scraped under 4 hours.
You went under 4 hours?
Yeah, went 4 hours by seconds. My sister actually beat me, left me on my own. But yeah, so I just went under by 6, and then kind of got the feeling for the running again, kind of started to enjoy it. But so I kind of joined in a few of the Striders bits, and then Christian approached me about kind of training athletes. So he wasn't happy. Yeah, he wasn't happy about the way the children were training, and they were working really hard, and there was a lot of stress involved in athletics, and he had this kind of idea that we take a group away and try and train them healthily rather than kind of bashing them
in this sort of Zone 1 methodology.
Well, it was kind of that was the start of it. I think it was kind of the idea that we wanted to change, but we hadn't kind of there was no heart rate monitors, there was it was just an idea sort of that we needed to kind of and
then just to pull out that bit again, so what were you seeing in athletics? Because I would see this in football and lots of organised sport, that actually it should be a bastion of health, shouldn't it? Like our athletic clubs should be the healthiest, fittest young people on the planet, but actually the truth is that there's a lot of them struggle through that system.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, it's been brilliant for me because I was part of that in my youth as well.
Yeah.
Because even though I loved running when I was younger, but I bashed myself massively.
So you were just
and by the time I got to 16, I'd had enough. I absolutely wanted nothing to do with athletics at all, because it was kind of, and also I suffered when I was younger with like catastrophe theory and that kind of, I really used to get myself in a complete mess. Then when my daughter started running, I'd done exactly the same to her as what I'd be. I was, getting in the car. You should be up the front. You should be, and if she run bad, I would be not carrying her bag and
pushy parent.
Pushy parent, awful.
But it's funny,
and she was asthmatic, and she was having asthma attacks, and she was getting ill every year. It was kind of,
So she wasn't healthy.
She wasn't healthy at all, and it was kind of, so and I didn't really understand it. I kind of, so. Anyway, so when Christians approached me, I said, yeah, I'm quite up for that. And, and then I started jumping into some of the training that the children were doing. And, I was just really enjoying being around kind of a new kind of idea of what we were trying to do.
Which was all about health.
It was, at that stage, it was kind of, but it was very, very kind of, we hadn't quite worked it out. We knew that there was something going on that was wrong, but we hadn't kind of established exactly what it was. So we were trying all different methods of training. And then my sister signed up for Edinburgh Marathon. So I was like, all right, okay, and my brother. So we were, right, let's go down to Edinburgh and do a marathon. So I still wasn't training the Zone 1 way at this stage, but I was just jumping into Christian's training.
Yeah.
And I ran a 3:18. And I was kind of like, I didn't expect it at all. So I'm standing in a field in Edinburgh and I'm like, where is everyone? And I literally couldn't comprehend the fact that I was up with the proper runners. And so then after that, I was kind of said to Christian, do you think I could go sub-3? And he was, he said, oh, you know what, let's give it a go. So we started to kind of work with, and Christian trained for a marathon at that stage as well. So we trained together for a marathon, but again, still not the Zone 1 way. So we hadn't, no heart rate monitors, and we were experimenting with different things. I tried to run a 100-mile week and absolutely destroyed me. And it was kind of, so we kind of, and then, but I was in really good shape. We ran a marathon. I ended up getting cramp at about 5 miles in.
Did you?
And it just all went wrong. So, but I ran about 3:17, something like that. So it was kind of, so we kind of, at that stage, was like, right, okay, that's obviously not worked.
Yeah.
So I thought, so Christian then started to do his degree. And he was going to say, right, okay, we're going to experiment with heart rates, and he started to kind of research
Connect the dots
and this is where the Zone 1 started. So I'd already done that. Then we decided to have a year out of marathon. So I wasn't going to run a marathon. We were going to try and train for heart rate. So, and it was tricky, and I resisted it quite a lot to start off with, because it's kind of, I'm fit at that stage, but the heart rate monitor's telling me that I'm not fit. He's kind of telling me that, I've got to, slow down. And so again, everything we know now is really kind of, that my base wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to run a sub-3-hour marathon. I would never have run a sub-3-hour marathon. I would have just kept kind of trying to break it and not breaking it.
Probably getting injured in trying to push it.
It just wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have, 100% no, it wouldn't have happened. So, because the heart rate monitor was saying to me, you've got to run 9-minute miles. So I was kind of, I was ringing Christian out on runs, kind of going, you are joking me. I'm running like 9:30s and 10s.
So for people listening, is that really slow? That would be considered slow.
I mean, I'm looking to run a marathon. I run my marathons now kind of at 6:30, 6:40 pace. And that, so I'm running my training runs at 9s and 9:30s. And kind of, when normally I'd be running them at 7:30.
And just to explain that for people, so basically what that is, that's the heart rate. So you pick a heart rate, which is the Zone 1. This is where the whole Zone 1 methodology comes from, and there's lots to it, but this is one aspect of it. So you run at a certain heart rate, right? You find out what your Zone 1 is and do most of your training at that heart rate. But as Emma just described, to stay at that heart rate, because it was really low, she had to run really slow.
Yes.
And that was like blowing your mind. So it was like, how am I possibly ever going to run a marathon at that speed when I'm running really, really slow? This is silly. This is not going to work. But clearly,
I mean, I didn't understand the whole process at all, and I couldn't, and I didn't believe it, and it took a good few years, even for me to kind of, I don't understand, and that's why when I speak to people now, that you can run that slowly, and then when you race fast. It just doesn't make sense. So for the world that I come from, you work hard and you get the rewards.
Just keep going.
So you bash yourself as hard as you can. You sleep well, you eat well, and then you go again. You bash yourself again, and then you kind of no pain, no gain. It's there's no other way. There was So you're telling me, Christian, that if I'm jogging around Butsbury at 9:30 pace, I'm going to go sub-3. And absolutely, there's no way. There's no way. So we didn't run a marathon that year, but we entered Brentwood Half Marathon. And so I'm jogging around Brentwood Half Marathon with no kind of idea. Got to kind of the last few miles and saw Christian. He's going to be like, and I'm like, all right, you know, like, it's all good. I'm like just jogging along. And then he said, if you like, you know, pick it up now, you'll PB. I'm like, you're joking me? Like, he's absolutely, and I PB'd. And then I started to kind of think, this is nuts. This is absolutely mad what we're doing. So I bought in massively and then lived my life by this kind of heart rate. You know, I was absolutely obsessed with it, bringing it down. So it's kind of, so I know what so if I ran at 145, so that's the heart rate that I try to tick at, is 145. So I'm looking at my watch. Anybody that would see me running around Ingate and goes, the mad woman looking at a watch. I'm looking at my watch, 145. And then so I started from running at 145, 9:30s, that kind of pace. And then I could see it moving. So it's going down, it's going down. So for that equivalent heart rate, when at 145, it went into the 8s. And then I'm ringing Christian up saying, I think I can get it in the 7s. I think one day I'm going to see 1 7-minute mile and that. And then so I was really driven by that and just seeing it come down. And it was like a game. It was like a game of Monopoly. You know, to go, you can, you know, and then I'd get 1 mile in the 7s. I'd be like, oh my God, I've got 1 mile in the 7s. And then every mile's in the 7s. So every mile's in, so it's kind of, so my conditioning has got really,
so
you know,
good, that base conditioning.
And then
just to explain that again. So what Emma's saying there is that same heart rate, because that base conditioning using like the Zone 1 methodology, or the strength training, nutritional strategy, all that stuff, running at that same heart rate was getting quicker and quicker and quicker. So you were seeing that.
It's the same effort.
Yeah, it's the same effort, but getting faster.
So the heart rate indicates your effort. And so that's the effort, and the time is your conditioning. So you've got an effort and you've got a conditioning, and then so it's just really showing me. So then, but we were, you know, wasn't doing very many sessions, running the occasional park run, and then we entered Chelmsford Marathon, and we went down to that, and I'll never forget. It was it was just the oddest experience ever. So I'm on the line thinking, no way, absolutely no, still not believing it. You know, I trusted Christian that, you know, he was kind of doing his degree at the time, and all the research was kind of backing what he was kind of saying. But it was anybody that I mixed with in the athletics world would just be, no.
It's the total opposite of what everyone else is doing.
So, you know, and would just think that I was, you know, it was just silly. Or that I was lying. That was a kind of, you know, it was super.
Because there's a bit of that, I guess, in athletics, of people, you know, post certain runs and don't post. There's a little bit.
Yeah,
it feels
so
like there's a bit of that.
Tells the truth. Everybody's been injured for 6 months and then they're
miraculously come back.
Yeah,
but actually, just even while we're on story, so you've not seen a physio through.
Oh, I've never been to. I've not. I mean, I won't go on my son because I'll bore everybody to tears. But no, and Rosa, none of mine have been to physio. So I've not paid any money out on physio. So none of this sporting that we've done. Fortunately, Christian's, you know, because he's been experimenting with us, where there's been I've not paid a penny out. I've not paid a penny, or no massages, no nothing.
Because that's most people, anyone training are constantly injured or in the physio or in recovery.
Well, it's all about recovery. It's all about, so you spend money to physios to recover you. You have a massage to recover you. But I'm constantly in a state of no stress. So it's kind of, so I don't need that.
Because the heart rate and the Zone 1 methodology is keeping you in that space.
So if I have a really, say when you're running, say the children were much younger then, and you run and you're stressed because you've had a bad day with children, that your heart rate will be up. So it protects you. The heart rate protects you from any form of stress. So
slow you down.
Somebody else it slows you down. So somebody else had a really bad time with their children, you know, or stress at home, work, or so, and then they'd go out for a run to kind of get rid of the stress, and they'd run too hard. They've already got a stressed body, then they get injured. But whereas I go out for a run in a stressed state, my heart rate would say you're in a stressed state, and it protects me.
So you'd have to run slower for that heart rate. Yes. So instead of you running quick, it'd slow you right down because you're already stressed, which keeps you protected and safe.
You, so you don't need the physio. So it's kind of, it's kind of that anyway. So I got to Chelmsford Marathon, standing on the line, still kind of in my 3/4 length trousers, kind of, you know, like the mum on the line, and standing on the line, and I'm running. I'm thinking, this is just enjoy myself. I'm not very good
But you're
with
talking
numbers.
the whole way around.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So what's
I was
amazing
telling-
about this, right? If you could see it, and we're going to get to that. Emma, when she's running, and in here anyway, is a brilliant talker. It's just talking the whole way around, like, which freaks everyone out even more because they're obviously all like in the zone, and Emma's like, yeah, whatever, just chatting away. Yeah.
I've never, because it's not something that I expected to be doing. Didn't expect to be kind of running at these kind of levels. So I still feel like a 4-hour runner. But running them kind of times, it's kind of, it's just, I enjoy it. It's just but it's the same kind of, like, it's so confusing because it's the same effort for me. So the 4-hour marathon was probably harder than my 2:51. It's kind of, because of just the conditioning was different. But so anyway, I finished, so the last few miles, I'm clueless where I am as well. So I'm just running, and I'm running, and I'm not looking at that stage, not looking at heart rate, just running. And I get to the last couple of miles, and Christian's like, you're going to go under. If you just go, you'll go under.
Under 3 hours.
Like, really? Just like, I still can't believe it. And then at the end, I think my first one was at 2:57, and I've just gone through the line. I'm just like looking at it and going, what is that all about?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Absolutely, shocked. And then kind of went through a period of running 2:56s and that kind of thing. And then we had a nutritional change in about 2018. And then it went again, but
So where is it? What's your fastest time?
It is 2:51.
2:51. That is just
I
it's
know,
just mind blowing, isn't it?
And it's stupid.
And if and I've spent loads of time with Emma and see Emma's training and the Zone1 methodology, which we all take part in, which is brilliant. It is the complete opposite of this, like, no pain, no gain. It's just like this nice rhythm. I mean, I think probably 90% of your training is in this lower heart rate, Zone1. Ticking along, and that builds this foundation of health. This is the important thing, isn't it?
It's all about
everything
health.
Here is health first. So it's basically just get unbelievably healthy, set all those preconditions for health, and then you layer in that specific training, and the results, like, no one can argue with, because they're in the time, they're in the clock.
Yeah.
I love it. So you reach that place. Where are you sort of heading, like, now with it?
Now, I mean, we're trying to set this up at the moment, so it's kind of with Zone1 Health and this, which is taking a bit of my time away from being able to commit so much time to running. But if I can run the 2:51 that I ran my last marathon, if I can run exactly that time when I'm 50, that makes me the all-time fastest marathon runner for my age in this country, which is kind of,
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Yeah, absolutely mad. Never expected to be in that position at all.
No, and you're sort of building towards that. And what's so, like, with those, like, transitions that are happening in your body and everything?
We're talking menopause.
I don't know. Do you want to have that conversation?
I'm actually, and I spoke to my sister about it a while ago, and I think our mentality towards things is kind of also quite interesting. So it's not something I'm not worried about getting old or that kind of side of it. It doesn't, but I'm finding it quite interesting because I've gone through a period of time where my heart rate is just is gone up.
Yeah.
And and it's kind of and then you get hot and but. I mean, I went out last night for a run, and I've had probably quite a few weeks of my runs being a bit slower, but I've kind of been interested in it. It's just kind of like, right, okay, I'm going through this. God, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but I'm very kind of definitely perimenopausal, so I'm kind of going through periods of time where I'm bleeding quite a lot, and it's affecting my running, but I've been really still strict with it. So I would never change the way I train. So it's just kind of that's quite interesting. But I've kind of that side of it because menopausal is in cycles. It's kind of I've kind of stopped bleeding as much, and my heart rate's. It was amazing last night. So really? I went out for an evening run and I felt back to myself again. It's kind of, so I'm quite enjoying the process of it. So it's kind of, for me to be able to monitor it and watch it, it's like, like when my son went through, puberty, I can see it on the graph. And it's kind of, so it feels like it's the same. I'm going through the same process I watched him go through. I'm now going through the other end. It's just interesting. It's just interesting.
And it's interesting to see how your body through this foundation of health is going to react through that stage, and then can you transition through that and basically maintain, because obviously every year you get older, if you run at the same pace, you're effectively faster for your age rated. So that's the idea, is to train through this section, stay incredibly healthy,
and what
monitor.
else can you do?
Well,
You know,
exactly. What else
can you do? It's kind of, so it's, I feel like incredibly lucky to have it, because I don't know how for me, when I watch other people that are going through it, I don't know how else you go through it. If you're not monitoring it, I don't know, it must be very, very confusing, because you feel different on different days to different, so how do you approach your training? It's like if you train in a traditional way, where you train on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and you go up to your training, but you're having kind of one of these hormonal days but you train really hard, it's kind of like, you're definitely going to be at the physio. So it's so I'm lucky in the sense that I can gear my training around, like today I feel good today, so I'll probably put in a long run today. So but it's not scheduled out, so I've not going right long run day on Friday.
So again, that's like the opposite of the like usually it's traditional training plan is you do this. Doesn't matter how you feel on that day. Whereas like what you're saying is because you've got this awareness around
monitoring.
You can see it in the heart rate. So it's like, actually I feel good today, I'm going to go for a long run.
Yeah, I'll maximise that day. So it's kind of it's good. It's good. And it's everything. When something happens like that, we'll sit down and we discuss it, and it's kind of, and I'll look at my food, I'll look at my sleep. So rather than just like it scares me when people have like training plans, because I just think, you just kind of hit a training plan regardless of what state you're in.
And this like applies to everyone. Obviously there's a transition going on in your life at the moment, but that's whether you're a youngster and you're going through a relationship that's getting tricky. You see it in the heart rate, whether you're going through your
Rosa,
own so it's this monitoring system that you're really skillful. It's a big part of the Zone1 methodology that again protects you and keeps you safe. And equally, let's just talk about this briefly. You don't drink.
No.
Emma's on the fun side of the island, which I love, and because that would get in the way of your training. There's no way.
It's just a no-brainer, isn't it, Andy? It's just not worth it. It's just kind of, although I feel lucky in a sense, because it just doesn't bother me.
Yeah, you was never a big drinker anyway.
I was never a big drinker, but I just kind of, it is for me. It's like a healthy aging is probably the biggest thing.
Longevity,
for me.
isn't it?
Longevity,
yes.
and if that's going to interrupt that, so my choice is I kind of go out and drink and do whatever, but then I don't get that experience of running a sub 3 hour marathon at 15. It's just a bit of a nut, for a couple of drinks. It's just this. It's just not going to happen.
It's just not on the radar. But in that note, we spoke about this before about when you drink alcohol, what it does to your heart rate.
Yeah. Oh my word.
We've
had some mad experiences with heart rate. For me, it's like again, because I feel lucky that alcohol is never really ever played a part in my life really at all. But for me, kind of in the job that I'm doing, it's amazing. It's been the effects of the alcohol. It's watching. I mean, even for, I don't know if I've probably said the story, which to lots of people, but I've run with ladies that have been out the night before, and I've been monitoring them both. And so I know they've been out the night before, so taking it easy with them. Got a heart monitor on both of them. One lady next to me, her heart rate will be about 5 beats more than what it is normally.
Yeah.
So she's, both had the same evening. So she's kind of been affected by the alcohol, but not massively affected by the alcohol. The lady on the other side of me, honestly, to the point of I think we need to stop the run. This is your 20 beats ahead. You need to. We need to
dangerous.
Walk.
I mean, I think my resting heart rate is say 42. It's almost double before you've even physically being alive. Yeah. Because of the alcohol. Yeah, because of the alcohol. Nuts. And that's why people keel over.
No, unless you monitor it, you don't know. So you don't know. So you could be somebody that, and the particular person that I know is now having, we kind of make them aware, but there's only so much you can do. You make them aware, and but now he's having serious problems, like liver problems, but the other one, still fine.
Yeah, so everyone's different, isn't it?
You don't know how you, but obviously it's not a healthy way to it, but it's kind of, but you just don't know. You don't know, but if you see it, you can't believe it. You can't believe that how much it affects. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think we've discussed this many times before. I would have been one of those people. I've said it that literally killed over for exercise because my way of dealing with drinking to wake up the next day was to go and beast myself. Was to literally push myself beyond what I'd normally do.
Sweat it out, and
sweat it out. But I would have been maybe, and it used to affect me a lot. I never looked at my heart rate, but I can guarantee I was in those big numbers. I bet I pushed myself dangerously close to keeling over. We see it with Justin Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
But recently he was a real hero locally. Brilliant footballer. And as we understand it, I think being in a sort of similar situation because I think athletes have got that in their mind. They can push themselves beyond probably where the normal person can. But then if there's alcohol involved and the heart rate's higher, and they go to those extreme places, it's just too much.
Yeah, it's really upsetting.
So bringing it back to where we are now, right? So we've got this Zone1 Health Studio, Baddow Park, Essex, where I hang out all the time. I love it here. We've got an in-person event coming up, exclusive to our Mind Body Gym members, which is super cool.
Really cool.
There's loads going on. It's really starting to take off. It's such a brilliant place over here. But in terms of your training, obviously the idea is to maintain where you are, if not get faster, up until 50. That makes you the fastest ever. But equally, we haven't mentioned Rosa, because there's another potential. Is that on the cards, world record?
No, well, we don't know. There might be somebody that's
we don't know.
We don't know. I mean, it's just. I mean, basically, for me and Rosa, my dream, it's always been
Rosa's part of
Rosa's part of it, and it's for us both to run a sub 3 hour marathon together. And so we both ran a sub 18 park run, which I was so proud. I never thought I would ever go sub 18. Equally kind of knew Rosa was capable of doing it, but didn't think that she would either. And we've both run sub 18 together, so I'd love to run a sub 3 hour marathon with Rosa.
I think that's on the cards. Is that a world record, or we're
it's
not sure?
I don't know. The research on it's a little bit out on that.
Is it?
Yeah. I think there might be a Japanese kind of a mother and daughter that have just
all done it. Have recently done it.
Yeah, not long ago. Yeah, so yeah.
Right,
yeah, not good.
Game on.
Yeah.
Game on. Wouldn't that be cool? A little cheeky world record.
Yeah, it'd be good, really good.
Yeah, I know another world record marathon runner, a guy called Freddie Bennett, or Freddie Wellies, as I know him. Big shout out to Freddie Wellies, often watches this. He's the fastest ever marathon runner.
Yeah.
Dressed as a fisherman. One of them. So he did it wellies and a whole full like Mac and everything. I mean, he's a great runner, but yeah, he did it with Freddie Wellies. Cool. Let's just quickly have a look at some of these questions. There's loads going on here. All right, we'll come back to that. Tony says incredible interview. But yeah, just to sort of wrap up the official bit there, I think that's just so cool. I mean, really excited about the future.
It is cool. I mean, it's good because we're growing as well, and it's even with my own training, we're kind of looking at this stage of life that I'm in at the moment, and it's kind of right. Okay, so we've got to kind of get through it, and I'm quite excited about the way we're looking to do it as well. Is what we're going to do is going to have a real block of strength training for myself as well.
Okay.
Because my strength is actually I've been quite strong for a while, which is just mental because I never ever thought I'd pick a barbell up in my life. But being quite strong. But it is definitely I'm hitting the kind of with the menopause. I'm kind of going. My strength is become an issue. So we're going to have kind of a 3-month period in my training. So normally I would run a marathon in April and a marathon in October, and sometimes 2 in each. So I'd run 4 marathons a year, or it's kind of or 3 marathons a year. But what we're gonna try and do to get me to this kind of 50 target is kind of have a period of time where I mainly strength train. So I'm looking after conditioning my body, because you've got to look after your strength, because that's what you're on, this kind of downward.
There is a decline,
yeah. The decline gets faster and faster. So and oddly, it hasn't hit me, but it's hit me now. So it's kind of so we kind of sit back and go, right, okay, so what do we do about that? So we're going to have a block of 3 months where I kind of get my strength training, really get back to as strong as I can get, and then go back into marathon training as well, which I'm really excited about that.
It is.
It's not just leaving me out to kind of go on, just it's kind of an approach. Go right, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to fight the decline.
So it's like anti-aging. It's like sort of anti-aging.
Yeah.
And what's really important about all of this, in many ways, and Emma and Christian and the team over at Zone1 and the methodology is basically just out there experimenting with anti-aging longevity formulas, because the truth is this: everything you're doing is what everyone does in here. There's no difference. There's no difference. No. So that's a really important part. So in terms of the strength training, in terms of the heart rate monitoring, in terms of the nutritional plan, that's what everyone does. Whether they're a busy parent, whether they're a broker in the city, whether they're a builder, whether they're an athlete, everyone does the same thing. Just do it at different intensities and different weights. But it's the same methodology for everyone. And I think that's really important, because even with you going through the menopause and this transition, to find ways to deal with that very strongly, come out the other side, is the sort of thing that you can then help other people potentially do exactly the same.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited. It's not. I'm not
who's
frightened
excited
of it.
about that?
Yeah.
We're the first person ever. Can't wait.
Don't. Yeah,
I get to test all
it's
these
good.
skills.
Yeah, it's good.
I love it, and I love being, you know, part of it, and we've got to know each other brilliantly.
Yeah,
you know, we've been to the city, we've helped me train our brokers before, and it's just such a cool place to be. And we're seeing many of you guys started to come into the
It's been good
Zone1 Health Studio, which is great. And actually, Joe Hall's out there now, and Steph, who's part of the Arate group, is out there training through the window. And they've been good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, love it.
And it's just lovely to be a part of the whole success story. Emma looks amazing. I feel so inspired. I signed up for her event, so can't wait.
Brilliant.
Justine, go on, Justine on YouTube.
Yeah.
So Justine, yes. So that's on the. When are we doing that? We're doing that on the 1st of August.
Yes.
It's exclusive to
wait.
the Mind Body Gym. We've got a group of 20 coming out to the Zone1 Health Studio in Baddow Park, Essex. I get to meet them for the first time, many of them. Justine's coming down from Scotland. How cool is that?
Yeah.
It's going to be fab. There'll be loads more to come. I absolutely love it here. I can't, you know, I'll be a big champion, a big supporter of everything they do, because it's just amazing, and like living proof that, you know, following these techniques and this formula, it's just this sort of anti-aging. It's going to be like Cocoon, you know, the film. Yeah. We're all going to be walking around sort of age 80, looking about 25.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think that's the way it's going. There's Matt, who was in just the other day. I love to see these obstacles ahead and plan how you're going to work past it. Love it. Mindset of a champ.
Yeah.
That's so true. It's so true. Brilliant interview, says Hugh. All right, team, we'll wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see loads more of Emma over the coming months, weeks, and years, because I think she's fab. There's a much bigger story to tell behind all of this as well. Have a brilliant day all, and I'll see you later. See you, everyone.
Bye.